Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Monday live stream. Well, I was hoping that the market would turn around as different parts of the world wake up, but it looks like we're going the opposite way. And that's just pretty much par for the course. So the question you have to ask yourself is, of course, how low can it go? And the other question you have to ask yourself is, am I protected? So if you haven't looked at your portfolio, I just recommend that you don't do that. And just take a look at what's actually happening. It's been a pretty big red day. Now, some people will call this a pullback. Some people will call this a bloody day. Some people will say that this is a negative market. Some people will say that this is a crash, but I don't think it's really a crash per se. I just think it's the markets being the markets. And like we talked about yesterday. But the question I had was, how bad is this day? Because if we take a look at it, over time, we can see that today is the entire market is down 8.3%. Now, it almost hit 10% in the early mornings when I was tweeting all the different things that were going on. But right now, we're looking at 8.3% across the board. And we're going to see what's going to happen when the traditional market gets going in another 2 hours or so from here. And really, this all comes down to the market being the market and talking about the Trump tariffs. You're going to hear that word about 1 billion times today. And people are going to blame the tariffs and say, well, this is why we have to protect ourselves because we don't know what's going to happen. Everything's going to crash down. Look, I've been around for quite some time to just realize that a narrative is just a narrative. And then as time goes on, there's just this, magical thing that people discovered like, that narrative wasn't so bad. Or, this narrative that was good is actually bad because of this. And it just keeps going round and round and round. So if we take a look at it today, yes, we're down quite a bit, right? And we see like over 24 hours, Bitcoin is actually doing pretty good, down only 3.9%. Ethereum is down 15, XRP 15, Solana only 5.8. Interesting. BNB 11, 13, 18, 17, Rapid 12, 13, 14, 13. I think doing pretty good. BitGet token is doing all right. And Mantra is up 5% almost. That's amazing. Type of thing. Jupiter's up, it's only down 7%. Gate 7.8, and across the board, wow, 24%. So we're going to see that, yeah, it's pretty bad. Can this get worse? Absolutely. Do I think it's going to get worse? Yeah, probably. And that's just what it is. Now, you have to ask yourself right now, for most of you who are on my channel, I don't think this really affects you that much because you've been with me for so long. You're like, it's no big deal. But for some of you, this is actually like the worst thing of all time. And just remember, as you get into this market and you go through things, these won't affect you as much because you've been in here so long. And you've been in here so long, you've been buying for so long that these dips are like, well, not a bad deal because, I've been buying for quite some time. And those prices I've actually got into earlier. Now, some of you who are like, well, I just bought the top and I'm freaking out. Well, guess what? That's the price of admission. So if you're worried about it, let me just say this like this. Every single person that's here, every single person that is not freaking out, the reason why they're not freaking out is because they've been in the market for so long and they've done the hard stuff that they were supposed to do. They bought in the bear market. They didn't listen to the naysayers. They just kept going forward. And now here they are. Now, are they up miraculously or marvelously from depending on what they bought? Yes, of course, it's pretty much what it is. But if you just stick around and just look at the projects that are actually doing well, you're going to be okay. So if that's the case, let's just jump into it. So first of all, fear and greed index. We can see that today. Look at this. Oh, man. It went from, wow, look at that. It went from extreme greed on 22nd of January. And everybody was, Bitcoin Strategic Reserve. We're going to get some new laws. There's a new SEC commissioner, secretary, state. We're just going to go crazy. And then, of course, we're so back. And then, of course, we go down to it's over. And then we have a little bit of a pump. We're so back on 31st of January. And then, of course, it's so over. And that's the volatility that is the markets. Look at that fear. And we'll probably enter into extreme fear as more sell-offs continue. Or look, there's a reason why people love leverage. It's because they can make a lot of money. Unfortunately, they can lose a lot of money. I think over $1 billion has been lost in the last 24 hours on leverage plays. People longing when they shouldn't have. they're over levered, they're over their skis, and then they're going to get liquidated, and then there's going to be massive sell-offs. That will in turn cause these different altcoins to sell off even more, and it's just a cascading effect. So that's pretty much what's going on, and that's just how it's been. So how about these drops, Rob? So if we take a look at it, again, almost a 10% day. I took a look and I said, what were the biggest one-day Bitcoin price drops in history? Did you know? I didn't even know this. On June 2011. Now, again, Bitcoin was only around for, a year and some change, almost two. That, it had almost 100% drop. What happened here? Well, this was one of those, I believe this was Mt. Gox. And Mt. Gox has had a long, storied history of big, huge drops. And what happened is some hacker got in there and messed around with the order book system and was able to fudge a bunch of different orders and get a really cheap Bitcoin at like a penny or so. So it went from like whatever the price was to like a penny. It was a flash crash, 190%. April 2013 or December 2013, one of these two, this was when the first time that China came out and said, hey, we're going to ban Bitcoin. Now, they've banned Bitcoin now for, I think, 40 times, 50 times. Correct me in the comment section. Just being facetious. And every single time it drops it a bunch. And like, that's just pretty much par for the course. Then in March of 2020, I think we can all remember that, there was this thing called coronavirus. Coronavirus came out. And of course, that was going to be the end of the world. We're going to lose 50% of the population. Everybody's going to die. And that didn't happen. And then May 19th, 2021, we also had a big hit for regulation. Also, China came into play and said, we're going to start banning, I believe this was Bitcoin miners. Also, this guy named Elon Musk said, hey, we're not going to keep taking Bitcoin as payments for Teslas. Dropped it down 30% in a day. And then, of course, June, July, August, September, October, 5 months or so later, we hit all-time highs. So that was the big drops for that time period. But what about the market cap? Because that's what we were talking about before, Rob. Well, the biggest one-day market cap drops were as such. And it was the same thing. Now, April 2013, same thing. China ban. China's bad. China's going to ban everything. Okay, sure. And then December 2017, which is a pretty good time frame. We think December 2017 was like a big, like the blow off top, which it was early December 2017. Then as we have the CME come in, they did futures and everything started to short. And then, of course, everything dropped by 29% in a day for the total market cap, because this would include Bitcoin and altcoins. And of course, there we go. March 2020, we just talked about this. Of course, we had a 37% drop. Look at that total market cap, 37%. May 19th, 2021, same types of things. And then September 5th, 2018. I don't know for sure exactly what that was at that point. But if you're looking for like the narratives that came and went, there's a great website called 99bitcoins.com. And what it'll do is it'll tell you like all the different crazy massive events that happened, which essentially were the big Bitcoin killers. And in retrospect, the big light or market caps of the entire altcoins were also going to be killed off. And you can just see that over time, what usually happens. We get a narrative, it gets resolved or debunked, or there's some other different kind of new information, and then just goes up into the right. Now here we are. Remember, a year ago, we were around 46,000 for Bitcoin, and now here we are. So again, what do I think is going to happen? I think we're going to have way more volatility. I think there's going to be an issue moving forward as far as with the tariffs, because everyone's going to freak out. Is it going to work? Is it not going to work? I personally, I'm not an expert on tariffs, and even the experts on tariffs don't know if it's going to work or not. So we'll see what happens. The thing is about these narratives, and I'll just leave it like this, then we'll do a little Q&A, is that even the smartest people who say like, this isn't going to work because of this, and this. And then all of a sudden there's like, oh, but there's this one thing that made it work, and we just didn't calculate that into our model. And then it works. And it's the exact opposite. Oh, this is why it's going to work, And there's this one thing that just tanks the whole thing. And if you think it's not like that, try opening up a small business with the best idea and the best people, and they still fail. And that's just pretty much how it is. So what do? You just stick around. You invest, or I can't give you investment advice. This is what I do. I just try to pick the right projects that are doing as best as they possibly can, have a strong community, have a strong utility, and are actually moving forward. And I go from there. Am I going to get it right all the time? No. That's why I heavily into Bitcoin, because it's the most battle tested. I know there's more upside, but there's also more downside. So what am I going to do? I talked about this yesterday. I'm going to do absolutely nothing. I'm just going to sit back and go, well, been here for quite some time. Not so bad. Probably go to the beach again today and come back and watch the world burn. That's it. So anyhow, that's it for today. If you like today's video, maybe give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. Now, if you want to do a Q&A, I'll answer all your questions and we'll get into it. Let's go. So let's see. Some random boomer. I do like that handle. It's pretty good. Markets don't like tariffs. That is true. You know, I mean, here's the thing about talking about tariffs and debating tariffs. Like we talked a little bit about this yesterday, and then I was just thinking about it. I'm like, does it really matter if we talk about it and we go back and forth about, well, this could work and that could work and this couldn't work and da-da-da. And at the end of the day, it's either going to be successful for a variety of factors and maybe a little luck, or it's going to actually collapse. I don't know. And then just to move that forward, the only thing I do know is that Bitcoin has done quite well. Investments usually do quite well over the long term. Some, not all. And we'll see what happens. And Meme says it right. Markets hate uncertainty. That's true. So if it's either a tariff here, it's a new person in office there, it's a war in some other part of the world, or it's some economic uncertainty for a collapse of something, or it's money printing or lack of money printing or quantitative easing or quantitative tightening. Just, it never stops, that's for sure. And then Amy says, buy and buy more Bitcoin. There's a bullish divergence on the Bitcoin dominance. Nice. Speaking of Bitcoin dominance, I'm pretty sure Ben's pretty happy today. I think Bitcoin dominance is like at 61, maybe 62, almost 63%. So what does that tell you? And I got to tell you, yeah, I wonder if Ben is happy that he went home. Probably so. I have to tell you, again, if you take a look at these numbers, and we're seeing, you know, look, I mean, historically, Bitcoin has been taking the brunt because it's the largest by market cap. But look how much it went down compared to some of these altcoins that are a little bit more risky. I mean, Ethereum now 15%, 27% in 30 days. That's huge. XRP had a massive run up. So the 15%, I'm like, yeah, but only 2% over 30 days. Solana, 8% 30 days, 5%. That's probably one of the better ones that's doing. And as a reminder, David Sachs, who is the new AI crypto czar, is a heavy investor into Solana. Now, I'm not going to say he's biased on Solana, but it's kind of hard to do that and not be biased if you have a fat bag of Solana as opposed to, hey, I got a big fat bag of Hyperliquid or Shiba Inu. Just saying. So yeah, I don't know. Matheron, used to my XRP being under $1. So I'm chilled after getting crushed yesterday. Yeah, exactly. Right? I mean, this is like actually good stuff, and I'll take it. So again, just remember the rules. Don't invest more than you can afford to lose. Everything's a scam and stuff or otherwise. Oh, there's one more thing I got to show you guys. Don't leave things on exchanges because we don't know when they're going to go down. We just talked about Mt. Gox. Remember that? Don't use leverage. I mean, you can, like, if you're going to do like a 2 or 3x, okay. But 50 to 100x, you're asking to get liquidated. And take profits along the way. And this is what I have very hard to do. But I'm sure you guys can do it. Speaking of scams, check this out. This is crazy. I was just perusing the Twitter sphere, or now called X. I cannot stop calling it Twitter. And this right here. I want to show you something. And you're gonna be a little, some of you might not be concerned. And I'm gonna tell you why you should be concerned. This. So This was a post about AI. Listen to this. This is 16 seconds. Hold on. Let's see. Listen to this.
As you can see, I'm currently participating in a Zoom call. But what if I tell you that I'm actually not in front of the camera right now? And this is an AI-generated live stream that moves in sync with my voice. Pickle generates real-time video of talking you based on your audio inputs, which can be streamed directly to Zoom.
Okay, so like some of you right now are saying to me, which is, who cares? That didn't look that super realistic. I was like, looks real enough. And the thing you have to understand about scammers is that they're not here to fool every single person. They're here to just get good enough to fool the masses. If they launch a scam attack against 1,000 people, and they're able to get 2 people out of those 1,000 to give their life savings, that's a huge win. All it took them was time. Didn't take really much anything else. So when I see stuff like this coming out, it's not perfect, but it's a hell of a lot better than it was a year ago. And it's a hell of a lot better than it was 2 years ago. So imagine if you have talked to your friends and family and got them into crypto and digital assets, I need you to talk to them about scams. If you don't do it, more people will lose out. And I don't think we should allow that to happen. So the biggest rule that you should tell your family and friends is whatever you're thinking about doing, make sure you run it through me first, as far as like giving out your crypto or taking calls or taking emails, because everything's a scam until proven otherwise. Rule number 2, and that's it. So again, also, if you see me like trying to contact you, hey, it's Robin, I'd like to give you a fantastic opportunity. And then you hear me and I look kind of like this, maybe a little robotic, but I'm still talking. I can just say, oh, I'm feeling under the weather, but yeah, this is what's going on. I got this for sale or that for sale. You know, it's always a scam. I'll never reach out to you. I don't need anything. I'm doing pretty good. All right, what else we got? Yeah, looks real enough to temporarily fool a lot of people. That's all they need. That's all they need. Loxy says, I'm sorry, if you want to talk to me, I would need blockchain ID verification. Exactly. It's not a bad idea. A secret code word for everybody. But then if it's my parents or my mom, she'd be like, what was the secret code word again? Like, oh, here we go. B198, you're up early. I'm actually usually up 3 hours before this. Because in Puerto Rico, we're on Atlantic Standard Time, which half of the year is on Eastern. The other half, it's actually 1 hour behind. We're actually 1 hour behind. And yeah, usually I'm up like 5:30, walking the dog and then go to the beach, a little workout. That's it. ADA 71 cents. Yeah, and probably going to go lower. Yeah. Dr. Srika Manon says, crypto is the biggest scam. Don't put your hard-earned money in this. That's a thought. Let's see. I had an urge to catch some falling alt knives. I put it into a teeny bit of Bitcoin instead. Better for it. Jim says, Ben had a live stream last night to celebrate the Bitcoin down. It's falling above 63. Well, that's one way to look at it. ETH is dead. I got to tell you, there's something, every time I write ETH off, there's something else that gets to me. I want to show you this real quick. This is on app.artemis. And I've talked about this before. We always take a look at transactions, active wallets, and such and so forth. But it'll show you the top inflows, top outflows. This, of course, is total value locked into DeFi. And the top net flows. Now you can take a look at this and break this down if you want to, in and out, but I really don't care. What I'm looking for is the net. Are you positive or are you negative? And what I want you to take a look at is base Ethereum Solana Sui. And over the last 3 months, here is the net flow. Meaning, yeah, there was some outflows in base, there was some inflows in base, but the net flow is 2.5 billion. Base is built on what? Ethereum. Ethereum, net flows, 1.1 billion. All right. And Solana, 1 billion. Okay, it's pretty good. SWI, also one to look at. Net flow is 253 million. Out of these, which one has the most potential upside? Just asking. So that's just a 3-month look. Let's take a look at, let's do 7 days and see what we got. 7 days, the net flow is 1.3. Look at the biggest loser. I mean, I'm sorry, you're the biggest laggard is Arbitrum. And it's like that across the board. I don't know what the price action is, but not looking good. Base, Optimism, also. Ethereum, Solana, 45 million. Polygon, wow. That's 7 days. God dang it, I wish this thing would stop doing that. All right, 7 days. Let's take a look at a month. Ethereum, Base, Solana. Let's take a look at a year. Maybe that's different. And that tells a different story. Base, still the winner, right? But then look at Solana, 2.4 billion. Here's Optimism, StarkNet, and SWI. BNB chain and so on and so forth. So like, I know people write off Ethereum. I still hold it. I still think it'll do well. But sometimes that price action just does not reflect what's going on. That's just how it is. Also take a look at Chainlink. Chainlink is damn near a stable coin these days. Seems like, except for today, it's just dropping. But Chainlink is being snatched up by most of the different projects that are out there because they need an oracle. They need to take the off-chain data and put it into on-chain. And Chainlink is the one. Yet, what is the price? Let's just take a look at the price, as a matter of fact. Instead of me just blabbering about it. Chainlink. Well, it's down 17% for 30 days, 14% today. All right. So let's see. 19 bucks. 7 days. All right. 1 month. All right. 3 months. So it went from 11 bucks or 1086. And it was actually at 25, which is pretty good. Take a look at a year. Not bad. 18 bucks to 18 bucks. Okay. Let's max out. I got to tell you, not great. Because if you take a look at the second peak was 34 bucks. I mean, it's down by half. And we take a look at the all-time high, roughly 50 bucks. That's still like 2.5x. It's not that great. So again, Chainlink is like one of those projects that actually does stuff, works. And if that doesn't convince you that we're all speculating, I don't know what else will. Just how it is. All right. Mr. Blast. Mr. Barbecue Steakhouse. That's a good one too. Bitcoin is the only one truly worth anything. I personally see it as that, but not as the only thing. I think there's some products out there that really do work. And Base, Ethereum and Base and stablecoins, trust me. Don't trust me. Do your own research. But if you take a look at like moving stables on the on-chain, fast and cheap using Coinbase, I can zip it around the world in no time. And it's super fast and super cheap. Try doing stables on Bitcoin. Well, you can't do that yet. Tether just announced that they're going to put their stablecoin Tether onto Bitcoin, and they're going to use Lightning Network. So it's going to be super cheap. Now, if that goes through, that's big news. And that I think is going to be great for payments, is moving things around. But yeah, I still say that payments are going to be a big thing. If you don't believe me, just talk to any of your friends that own a small business that have to do daily transactions on Visa or MasterCard and tell me how much you think. Ask them what they think is as far as payments go. Exactly. Okay, where did I go? Let's see. Thoughts on Casper? Probably do well at some point, just not today. Let's see. Claudiu Pantier. What do you think about Rune? Can I do a 10x from here? Will it recover? I don't know about that one. I never really got into Rune, but I know some people think it's going to be great, and then some type of technical issue, as I read, and it looks like it tanked. So I don't know. I can tell you, like, I'll tell you what I know. I'll tell you what I don't know. I don't know. Irrational. This is what you get when you get elected president with the room temperature IQ. Yeah. We'll see. I mean, look, we can blame the guy. We can see if it works or not. What I'd like to see is, instead of like doing that, I'd like to see some goals, some very concrete goals of said tariffs by what they want to see. Like, love him or hate him, Jerome Powell for the Fed Reserve, at least he's like, look, we have a goal of 2% inflation or lower, and we're going to get there come hell or high water. And then then he said, okay, well, we're going to take a little bit more time, but we're going to hit 2%. I think he's actually relaxed that a little bit, but those are the goals, and his goals are set, right? For tariffs, I'd like to see, like, okay, if we have these tariffs, we want to see the national debt go from $34 trillion to $20 trillion. And we also want to see the GDP go from X to X, and like, just give us like some concrete parameters. We can say, okay, that's a success or not a success, and go from there. Now, some people, it'll never be good enough, but I think that's a good starting point. And maybe he's already said it, and I just not aware of it. But I'm just like, let's give it a whirl. Why not? It's not like we're decreasing our debt every day. Let's see what happens. Yeah, Chainlink is America, which means potentially no capital gains tax. Investment says, should I sell ETH and buy SWI or Solana? I do have Sol, but not sure. Like right now, like I said yesterday, I'm not doing anything. I'm just taking a look and see how we go, and taking a look at those risk bands. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there's a great website, Into the Cryptoverse, links in the description. And it pretty much just gives you parameters of when to buy and sell. But you can overlay those with other indicators. Jared says, good morning. Hello, Rusty Bot. Jared. Hello, Jimmy. Investment Crypto. Meme. Echo Lee is here. Good morning. This dude is a Sol groupie. Incorrect. It's in my top 5, but by far, Bitcoin is my biggest holding. Good morning. David says, please, can we have some more ETH is dead comments? The more negative the sentiment, the more likely we are near bottom, and we can finally YOLO. Yeah, it's true. And does anybody have any other? I think that's it. Yeah, I mean, this is a bad day. This isn't the worst day. We'll just say that. And, pullbacks are healthy and all that jazz and all that stuff. But, we'll see what happens. I just see it as, when the market turns negative, it gets real negative. And especially when you have one side that absolutely hates the person that has put into effect tariffs. And because of that, the negative sentiment will just keep flowing forward. It's fine. Let's see if it actually works and go from there. That's it for today. So look, like today's video, thumbs up, subscribe, all that great stuff. Thanks so much, everybody. See you guys in the next one. Just hang in there.